this computer. Hello, it's Karen Harrison. Welcome to July 2022 Reiki Call. My website is karenharrison.net, and I teach all levels of Reiki classes, and you can find all my information there. We have a Reiki Circle, which is a Reiki share twice a month, and you can attend online the second Tuesday of the month, and you can attend in person in Kansas City on the fourth Monday of the month. So you can find that information out on my website or subscribe to my email list and get the information that way. So tonight, we're going to have Reiki question and answer and discussion. So it'll be centered around what you all want to hear about and the questions that people have sent in to me. And then we'll spend a little time towards the end sending Reiki to everyone on the call and everybody who listens to the recording afterwards. All right, so we are going to just start with a little opening and grounding. I like to stand up for the grounding. Okay, so if you have Reiki, go ahead and draw the power symbol at your feet and over your head. And then let's power up our room also by drawing the power symbol on the four walls, the ceiling, and the floor. And if you're new to Reiki, as you're listening to this call, you can just intend to activate love energy in your area. And then I was just also drawing a big power symbol over my trunk. Okay, we'll go ahead and draw one on each chakra all the way up. And hello, Darlis, welcome. We are just powering ourselves up and powering up the room. Okay, so now we're going to do a grounding breath, breathing energy from the earth up through your feet on an inhale. Exhale, send the energy down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down, sending the energy deep into the earth. Inhale up. Exhale out your crown, down around your aura, cleansing your aura. Then up again. Out and around, cleansing your aura. And up and out. Down to ground. All right, wonderful. Well, before I do the prayer, Darlis, you want to tell us where you're located?
Bethany, Missouri, northern Missouri.
Okay, welcome. Yeah, we just did the introductions before you got on the call. All right, so now let's again just put your hands together, activate your Reiki, or if you don't have Reiki, activate love energy. Place your hands in Gasho. Gasho is simply two hands coming together, thumb pointed into your heart chakra. All right, so we call on divine creator, the angels, the archangels, Mother Nature, the brothers and sisters of the light to be here with us. And we are grateful for this beautiful summertime, the time of enjoying the beauty of nature, the green grass, the blue skies, all the flowers, the beauty of the trees, time spent outside. And we know that this time in nature is restorative and helps us to center and ground ourselves. And so we take a deep breath and intend to inhale more energy from the earth. And let it fill our bodies, and exhale, sending it out into our aura. And connecting with the beauty of the earth fills us with a sense of peace. And it inspires us to slow down for a moment, take a look around, and notice flowers and grass and even the beauty of the weeds. And to watch the birds flying by. And to notice the animals around us, our pets and others' pets and wild animals. And to marvel at their beauty, their unique life forms. And it helps us to feel connected to the web of life. And it brings us into the present moment. And the presence is where we feel at peace, fully present in this moment in time. Grateful for this time to be with all of you, to feel the Reiki energy, to connect with each other, to be in like-minded community. We are grateful for you, the light and love that you share, the beauty that you notice. The healing energy that you transmit to others. And the healing energy that you give yourself to stay grounded and peaceful in the earth and radiating out your blessings. And so we thank you for being here. And in gratitude, we say namaste, blessed be, and amen. Okay, so this is our Reiki question and answer discussion time. So I like to start by inviting any questions from any of you, and then I'll move to questions that have been sent in by others. And I guess I would invite you whenever you're not talking just to mute yourself. That way we won't have the background noises. So, well, to start off, who has a question? All right, well, maybe I will start with the questions that you sent in, Liz.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, so, and you're the same Liz, right? The sent in the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I guess.
Yes.
I had
Okay.
two questions.
Yes, yes. Okay. So when sending distance Reiki, can you send it to several people at once? Or can you send it out and then anyone can receive? For example, say I'm sending Reiki out at 7:30 for 30 minutes, and anyone can receive as long as they're aware of it being sent out. So I think what you were asking is, like, if you just send it out in general, can anybody just pick it up?
That was part of the question, yes. Without having a name associated with it, I don't know who this person might be. They're just out there listening or whatever. They can still tap into the Reiki energy, right?
So I think that's possible. I think like when I'm sending distance Reiki, I do my practice every morning, and I send Reiki to specific people. Like my best friend's husband had knee replacement surgery today. So I have been sending him distance Reiki every morning for a while. So I'm specifically sending it to him, and, for that surgery to go smoothly and easily. And then I've been sending it to another friend of mine's family member who is having marital problems. So I actually have been sending it to their whole family. So that's what I normally do. If you want to send it in general, say you want to send Reiki to all the latest tornado victims, or, for whatever kind of situation, wildfire, tornado, whatever, then you can intend to send Reiki to all those that have been affected by, the latest disaster or the latest mass shooting. That would be a good example, send Reiki to all those people affected by that, in general. So is that kind of what you were wanting to do, or just you were wanting to send it out more generally?
So for instance, if I have 3 people that I know of that I want to send Reiki to, can I do that like in one session? Or do I need to break it down into individual people? Should I say, okay, John Doe, I'm going to do first, and then I'm going to send Reiki to him, and then I'm going to do Mary Johnson next, or can I just put them all together and send it at one time?
Yes, you can do it
Both?
both. You can do it both ways. And I
Okay.
think it just depends on how much time you have. So I'm just going to
Because
grab my
it's the
doll.
intention. It's the intention, right? So if I have the intention to send it to these 3 people, then it's still going to be good, whether or not
Yes.
I do it individually or together.
Yeah.
Okay.
If someone has a real serious need and I have the time, then I will just do Reiki one-on-one for them. But most of the time I do like group bundle Reiki, I guess I would call it. So I use my Reiki doll, and I'll activate my symbols, including the distance symbol. And then I just say, as I give Reiki to this doll, I give Reiki to John Doe and Mary Jane and, whomever. And so I'll send Reiki to a number of people all at once, family members, friends, colleagues, so that's who I send it to. And I'll do that practice every day, usually for 30 minutes to an hour. So that's what I do.
Okay.
So what about the rest of you? What do you do to send Reiki to your family members and friends? Do you send it just one at a time, or do you group it up?
I usually do one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If I have the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And for about how long?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Uh-huh.
If longer, if I have the time.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, you can do it both ways.
I do both.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like you said, if there's a specific need or request, I kind of set that intention separately. And then like I have 3 horses and 2 mules. So like my herd, I kind of connect. I do a little bit different with my animals as I do my people, but yet it's all kind of the same.
Uh-huh. Okay. Great. So your horses and your mule all get Reiki too. That's awesome. And do you do hands-on Reiki on them also?
Sometimes they do better. That kind of depends on their mood. There's days where it's good, and then there's days where they do distant better. Sometimes I think maybe it's I don't know if I come off too strong sometimes with my intention, and so they're very good at blowing and snorting and all that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, do you remember, is that one of your dogs in the background? Is that one of your dogs in the background?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And
Do you remember to ask for permission before you send Reiki to them?
Yes.
Okay.
But sometimes I do kind of like a Reiki bubble, like they talked about, to where I just offer, that I'm going to send Reiki and you're more than welcome to receive if you want to receive. And it's interesting, some do and some's like, I'm good. And
Okay. All right, great. So, Liz, if I'm doing a Reiki distance session and I'm doing it for pay, what I like to do is arrange the session when the client can be relaxing and ideally laying down. And then I'll either do the session over the phone or over Zoom, FaceTime, whatever they want, and ask them for their intention at the beginning of the session. Would they like Reiki for physical, mental, spiritual, emotional? What is it? Tell me a little bit about what you want Reiki for. And then I'll do the session and may talk with them a little bit throughout the session while they're relaxing, or it may be mostly quiet. And then at the end, I'll find out how they're feeling and I'll give them my impressions of the session. Anywhere like the energy felt like it flowed better, any areas where it was blocked. So that's how I do a distance session.
That's how I've been doing it, just individually like that. I've had some really, really, really good results. But I was just recently curious about the group thing. And have you had good results with that?
Yes, I have, particularly when I'm doing it every day. I think one of the best results I've gotten is more harmony in several important relationships in my life, including with my brother. I just had a family visit where he was here for about 5 days. And at the end of it, I realized that he and I did not have one single conflict. And I spent more time with him, during that 5 days than normal. And I thought that was really good. So that was awesome. And my daughter just left about an hour ago. She's been here for 3 weeks and we did not have any conflicts either. And that we've been in and out of therapy together. So that is major. So I'm sending Reiki, to my daughter, and prior to her visit, I'm sending Reiki into the relationship and also with my brother. And I just send it for a lot of different things, for whatever it is that is needed. Like one of my friends got a notice that her townhouse was being sold and needed to move within a month. So I was just sending Reiki for her to find the right and perfect new place to live in Bella Vista, Arkansas. So anyway, she did find a place and she's moving in about 2 weeks. So there's all sorts of things that you can send distance Reiki for. Yeah, Darlis.
So when you talked about like the relationship with like your brother, like having conflicts like in the past, Do you
Mhm.
send it directly to the relationship? Or, I mean, did you ask your brother if it was okay to send the Reiki to him? Or that just kind of resonated with me, but I don't think my brother would be up for it.
Yeah. You can always send Reiki into a relationship that you have with someone else, because that is, that is part of you.
Okay.
You have responsibility for your relationships with others. So you can always do that. You don't have to ask for permission to send Reiki into a relationship. For other things, when you can ask, do ask. I will have to admit, my brother used to tease me a lot about Reiki and, all that woo-woo stuff. And he's Mr. Finance, so not too impressed with it. I just started sending Reiki to him and his wife and his daughters. And, I asked their soul's permission. At first, it didn't feel like the energy went very much. I didn't feel much flow. But after several months of doing it every day, I felt the energy flowing better. And then I noticed our relationship getting better. And my brother has actually requested Reiki for himself, for his daughters, for his wife, for different needs that have come up along the way. So, Reiki really transformed that relationship, because it was so tense that when we would go on vacation, on family cruises, I would purposely book excursions that were something different than what he chose, because a couple hours a day was about all I could handle, because I was just so, waiting for the next conflict to erupt. So it's come a long way. So I really recommend it. I wrote an article on Reiki for mother-daughter relationships. It's on my website. And I talk about all the different ways that you can use Reiki for that. So at KarenHarrison.net under Reiki articles. So Liz, I think you had let's see if was there a part 2 to your question. Let me see if I can read this.
I think you covered everything, maybe.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments that you all have about distance Reiki? Okay, well, I wanted to just come back to Darlis, about distance Reiki for your animals. I've heard that before, that sometimes it works better to send them distance Reiki. And as an animal Reiki practitioner, the International Center for Reiki Training now has specific animal Reiki classes with its own new animal energy. The animal practitioners most often will do the session at a distance, like maybe over Zoom, because that way the animals can be in their own home and be comfortable and receive Reiki and not have to be dealing with new smells and things. The animal is just more comfortable than if the animal is brought over. For example, my friend brought his dog Gertie over for a session at my house, and it took her a while to settle down, because she was smelling my daughter's dog and sniffing and, checking out all the scents and kind of wondering, why am I here? And, what's going on? So yeah, distance Reiki for animals, and for your cute little white fluffy dog there.
Well, and I have a friend who, back before internet was really big and popular, and it wasn't, and I can't remember what year I took the master training from you, but anyway, she had a horse that injured its leg. And so I went and did Reiki, for the horse, and that horse was very receptive, all the way down. And then I watched one gal later on who kind of did Reiki more for animal communication with horses. But sometimes hands, I think, can be pretty in their space, so like I kind of ask, but sometimes I just find that it's better that, if you go and just offer the presence of Reiki, it can help to settle down. And then the invite is, if you would like to come in, you're more than welcome. And yet I have a cat who, he just loves Reiki. So it's like, bring it on all the time, all the time.
Yes, yeah. Some animals are just very receptive and they're Reiki hogs, and other animals are like, I don't know. But one of the things we're finding is that animals seem even more receptive to the new animal Reiki energy, because it's a specific energy for animals. And then I learned so much when I took the class, and, continue to learn as I'm teaching the class, about the three main things of animal Reiki: permission, consent, permission, safety, and observation. Okay, so like, how do you get permission from an animal? You can't just ask the animal, well, if you want Reiki, stomp your foot twice, and if you don't, stomp it once. That probably isn't going to work. So, we have to know when we're receiving a yes, when we're receiving a no. And then we have to really heighten our observation skills to observe how the animal is responding. And then safety, that really applies for like the horses and the mule. Because if you're giving Reiki to a horse, but you really don't know much about horses, then it's hard to be safe unless you are, standing on the other side of the fence from the horse. You probably don't want to go into a stall with a horse if you don't know anything about horses and you don't know that horse. So important things to learn about, and really learning to heighten our ability to communicate with the animal. Although the animal Reiki class is not an animal communication class, we learn to understand what the animal's cues are for if they want Reiki, and then how long the session is, because the animal determines how long the session is. Animal sessions could be 10 minutes, they could be 40 minutes or longer, but they're usually shorter than human sessions because the energy just works more quickly with them. So those are some of the cool things that we learn about in the Animal Reiki class. And I've been teaching those classes in person and online. And online, we work on webcams and each other's pets. And in person, we do that also. And we practice on some rescue animals, cats and dogs. So that's kind of been my latest excitement, Animal Reiki. Does anybody have any questions about Animal Reiki?
I have a dog that has developed a fear of loud noises. I think it started a few years back whenever we lived by a army camp or whatever, and they do a lot of training and there's lots of explosions sometimes. But I think it really started one 4th of July. And now she's just terrified. She'll shiver and shake and hide under the bed. And so I've never, I guess, really thought about giving her Reiki because I don't have animal Reiki or anything like that. I have tried to give it to my animals before, but I've not really had a lot of luck with it, them being receptive to it. She's kind of persnickety anyhow, but I'm going to definitely try this on her, even though I don't know specifically for animals yet, just to see if it helps.
Yeah, so you can do Animal Reiki, even without the class. The main difference with animals, besides not being able to say yes or no, is it's the idea of Reiki in motion. Animals are not going to jump up on your massage table. I mean, normally, however, if you do, and say, okay, hey, I want Reiki. So the animal can come and go and move around, and you just kind of have to feel the sensations in your hand. Do you feel some pulsing, some warmth? Do you feel the energy flowing and going? Then that means the energy is flowing to your dog. So,
Okay.
Whenever your dog is feeling fearful, you can give your dog Reiki and help to calm him or her down. For things like the 4th of July, you can send Reiki in advance to your dog, for your dog to be calm on that day, kind of like Darla's talked about, like intend to send a bubble of Reiki energy that will just be with your dog that whole day and help to calm him down.
Okay.
So yeah, but if we expect our animals, just to sit there, they aren't necessarily going to do that, but you can go ahead and activate your Reiki and pet your dog or your cat and give Reiki that way. You can just hold your hands out and just allow the Reiki to flow and see if they come over and sniff your hands or lick or seem interested. That would be a sign that they want the Reiki. On the other hand, if you activate Reiki and ask them if they want some and they turn around and leave the room, then that would be a sign that they don't want Reiki. Like here was a funny story. We were doing Reiki on a zoo cam and sending Reiki to a rhinoceros. And there were several that stayed and wanted the Reiki, but one rhinoceros turned and ran out of the view of the camera. So we took that as a no, that one did not want Reiki. Okay, the other animals did.
I've done it with my chickens before, and there's a couple that are real skittish, and I had one actually do that to me, and I've had them stay there for a minute or so, but chickens are kind of like that. They're harder. They have stayed around for a minute or two. But I figured that it probably was good enough to help.
Yeah. There's no, set amount of time. And you can just send Reiki to all your chickens in the field all at once, just send a whole group of chickens Reiki. Fun. Any other of you? I know, Lucy, you give Reiki to your dog. Yeah, Gracie loves it.
Yes, she does.
Okay,
I have a question.
sure.
So this is all new to me. I mean, I'm familiar with Reiki, but this is all new to me, so I'm just now learning. When you were doing Reiki, do you have a special prayer that you're praying at the time that you're sending that to your clients or your animals?
So before I begin my session, I just do a general prayer, calling on the spiritual beings that I work with. So I work with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit, angels and archangels. So I just call them into the session. I ask to set my personality and ego aside to be a clear and open channel for Reiki. And then I begin the Reiki. And as I'm giving Reiki, I generally will just focus on healing. So I'm not really thinking about anything in particular. I'm just focusing on it being a healing experience for the person. So let's see, you took my class, right?
I have not yet.
Oh, you have?
I'm going to. No. I'd like to take the in-person class that you're going to have coming up.
Okay, all right. In my class, I give a little sample prayer to use.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can customize it according to, what you want. 'Cause I like to teach people of all different spiritual beliefs or no beliefs. So, you can do the prayer, you can skip the prayer, whatever you like.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And Liz had another question about, I've been hearing about dark entities that have physical presence being brought in from other dimensions. Can Reiki protect us from these physical beings? So yes, that's one of the cool things, you know, with Reiki too. You learn the symbols for Reiki, the power symbol, the mental emotional symbol, and the distance symbol. So the thing that we did at the beginning, where we draw the power symbol in front of us, and then a small one on each chakra all the way up, that strengthens and empowers us. And then you can also call on your spiritual source and ask that your energy field be protected. So that's how we protect ourselves from any unwanted energy. You can do that every day before you begin your day. You can do it again whenever you feel that you need, you know, some extra power. And then we also learn in Reiki class how to clear your energy field, you know, with our dry bathing process where we brush. It's called Kinyoku dry bathing, and we brush off any unwanted energy. And then in the Reiki Master class, you learn another process called healing spirit attachments. So that would be any kind of unwanted energy that you might pick up or that you think you might have picked up. And it's just a series of prayers with Reiki, and it works quickly and easily, and it removes the energy. It heals the energy through the grace of forgiveness. And it also heals the part of you where the energy attached, so that that part of you cannot be used by unhealthy spirits ever again. So that's pretty cool. So those, you know, those three things, you know, powering yourself up, clearing your energy field, healing spirit attachments, those all help with protecting us, you know, from any unwanted energy.
Okay.
Okay. As well as grounding. Grounding is helpful. You know, the grounding breath that we did at the beginning, where we breathe the earth energy up through our bodies, you know, the more that we are present in our bodies and not like often, you know, la la land. Being in la la land can be a lot of fun, but it kind of leaves our energy field more, you know, open. And so being present and grounded in our bodies, it also helps us to have a stronger energy field and helps to protect us. So anything else that you all want to share about, you know, Reiki for clearing any unwanted energy? Okay. Okay. And then I think Lucy, I think you had asked, how did I get started with Reiki?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
What is your Reiki story?
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of interesting. My younger sister, Barbara, had been practicing Reiki since maybe about the mid 80s. And, you know, she just had started talking to me about Reiki and, you know, telling me about how great it was. And maybe it was the end of the 80s. And then finally she talked me into taking a class. She had worked her way up to Reiki Master. So she had a class just for me. It was a 2-hour class. She told me a book to read, and I wasn't real impressed with the whole thing. I didn't really feel the Reiki energy. I thought, okay, well, this was all right, but nothing great. Okay, check, I did it. Well, then whenever I would talk to her about a problem, she'd say, did you try Reiki on that? Did you try Reiki on that? And so I couldn't really escape it. And so I started, you know, using it, and I decided to go on to Reiki 2 with her teacher as she requested. And I learned the symbols and started seeing some success with it. The thing that I remember the most was being on a road trip with my husband and our 3 kids, and the car broke down. So they all went into the gas station to talk about finding a mechanic to work on the car. And I sat outside in the car and I gave it Reiki and did that for about 20 minutes. And then I thought, well, I'm going to see if it made a difference. And the car started and it ran fine after that. So my husband was kind of skeptical about the whole thing, so I decided not to tell him. Anyway, so we left and the car worked fine the rest of the time, but that got my attention. That was a pretty major deal. Nobody wants to be stuck on a road trip with 3 little kids. So I just kept practicing Reiki, and eventually I went downtown and found a book that William Lee Rand had written. He is the president of the International Center for Reiki Training. And I read it and realized, oh, there's so much more to learn about Reiki than what I read in this other book. I learned a lot. And I started looking at their website, and I found that one of their teachers had decided to have a class in my city. So I contacted her, and the next thing I knew, she asked me to find a place to have it, because she had taken a map of the United States and a pendulum and asked Spirit where she was supposed to teach next. And
Wow.
Spirit told her Kansas City.
I'll be darned.
So yeah, so I went and scouted out some hotels and booked a hotel for her. And she came and taught the Reiki Master class. And so I learned Reiki Master from her. So my sister wasn't teaching Reiki Master at that point, and the other Reiki Master was going to charge me like $5,000 for Reiki Master, and then for the other $5,000, because the fee was $10,000, I was going to need to send Reiki to the earth every day for the rest of my life. And the class at the International Center for Reiki Training was something like $800. So I thought, I think I'll take the $800 class instead of the $5,000 one. So that worked out really well. And then, I had not planned to teach, but then people started showing up and asking me to teach them Reiki. So, I started teaching back in 1998, right when I got Reiki Master. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to go to the Reiki retreats that the International Center offers. So I did that in 1999, and I met the teachers, and I thought, this is a really awesome group of teachers. I really like them. I feel really connected to them. I think I want to be one of them. So I talked to William Rand about that, and he said, well, yeah, why don't you apply? So I didn't have the qualifications to apply then, but I applied about a year later. After I'd started teaching Reiki, and I got in the program, and then I got, my licensure for my first level of Reiki back in 2003. So anyway, I've been teaching with the International Center for Reiki Training ever since 2002. So that's kind of the highlights of my Reiki story. But what a great journey it's been. And I've done Reiki alongside my counseling practice. And now I just practice Reiki. I've got an article that will be coming out in the September Reiki News on Reiki for life challenges and trauma. So I really like to focus on Reiki for all kinds of emotional issues, since that combines my counseling skills along with the Reiki. So that's how I got into Reiki. What what made you all decide to take a Reiki class?
I took my level 1 from a gal in Blue Springs, Missouri.
Uh-huh.
And then I took level 2 with another gal in Kansas City. And I took it over. I just didn't feel comfortable with the first person. And then I took my level 2 with you. And then, of course, I did my master when I lived in Colorado, the first master, and then I did the next one, the Holy Fire with you, was it last year, I think it was. So, but I'm very drawn to it. I did have a small business in Colorado for a while, and it was amazing. It was just amazing what happened with people and how they grew and made decisions that were fruitful for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend it.
Wonderful. Anybody else want to share about how you got involved with Reiki?
Well, I was
I
just,
will. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say I've been in the field of nursing for about 32 years. And so healing's a part of that. Just touching the people or hugging the people, you know, I know energy is fluid, but you could sense, you could feel the energy, you know, around the clients or the residents, you know, when you're caring for them, you know. And so I was drawn to it at an early age. I just never done anything with it, but I have changed my views as far as religion and spirituality within the last couple of years. I've always been raised to believe in God and spirits, but I have changed my views on religion and spirituality. I'm more drawn to the spiritual side of it now. And so that's what prompted me to reach out to Karen to learn more about the Reiki.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. And Liz, you were going to share?
Well, I can't remember what year it was, like 2005 or 6, probably 2006. I had started meditating. I had used this subliminal messaging audio tape by Dane Spots. And I was really getting into the meditation because I was we had an empty nest and we had moved away. And so I had more time, for me. And then when we came back home after a few years, I started getting into crystals because, we dig for crystals in Arkansas. And I, experienced their energy and got into other kinds of crystals, not just quartz crystals. And I think I was just researching something on the internet one day about that, the energies from crystals, and something came, how it does when you search for something, something else comes up. And it said something about Reiki. And I thought, well, what is that? I've never heard of Reiki. And so I just kind of started researching that. And it's like I just started getting this flood of information. And then almost immediately found a class. And in the class, in your class that I took in 2018 in Oklahoma City, you talked about how, when the time is right, things will come to you and you just have to learn how to listen to it. And I
Mhm.
felt like that's what happened to me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. And if you ever want to go on to Reiki Master, you can do the class online or in person.
I'm registered for your class in August.
Okay, wonderful.
I have to do it online because my husband's health. I can't
Uh-huh.
leave him.
Uh-huh.
And so I signed up for that.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. So yeah, that brings to mind somebody else had asked a question about how she could get the new Holy Fire World Peace upgrade. So let me explain about the upgrades with Holy Fire. So we are currently teaching Holy Fire version 3, which is kind of like, Windows 10. You just take the class at whatever upgrade we're currently offering. And so after the Holy Fire 3, then came teaching online. the pandemic hit, so we were able to convert our classes to be able to teach them online as well as in person. So now when I teach the Reiki Master class, we have information about how to teach it online. Then the whole big thing broke out with the war between Russia and Ukraine, and we realized there was a need for greater strength of world peace energy. So we got another upgrade. William Rand works with this energy, as well as Colleen Benelli. Together they work with the energy, and they bring it through for themselves, and then bring it out to the rest of the licensed teachers, and then we teach our students that energy. So now anybody that wants the world peace upgrade, if they have not yet taken a Reiki Master class, then they would get that energy in the Reiki Master class. If they took the Reiki Master class before the upgrade, they can review a class. You can do the online webinar that William Rand has on it. So he's got the World Peace upgrade on there. You do have to do the upgrades in order, though. So, it depends on what level of like holy fire energy you've had. So we've had holy fire 1, 2, 3, and then the online, and then the world peace. So if he were to actually number them all, we'd actually be on holy fire 5, but he chose to just stop at 3 and then just name them. So anyway, if anybody is confused about that, feel free to shoot me an email at Karen@KarenHarrison.net, and I would be glad to answer your questions about that. So I think the person that had asked me is actually going to review the class, and I offer some special reduced fees for reviewing a class if you've had class with me before. So did that all make sense, what I just went over about the upgrades and how that works?
You said the world peace upgrade is part of the master class?
Yes. Yeah. So when you take the master class, you're going to get the new upgrade world peace energy. So it's just a specific, stronger energy that can help us as Reiki practitioners contribute to peace on the planet, so that we can send peace and raise the vibration so that all people can move into a greater resonance with the peaceful energy, so that we can bring an end to wars and, all the resulting things that happen, like our gas prices, and then inflation, and then not enough food, and all that suffering that comes about. That's what we can do as Reiki practitioners. We can send Reiki, we can raise our vibration, and we can send Reiki to the people of Russia and Ukraine for peace. We can send it to the world leaders, that they get inspired with peace and open their minds to a better and higher way of working out problems, rather than through physical things like bombing each other, Okay, well, I had planned to have a little time for Reiki, and we are about out of time, but let's just take a couple of minutes and activate our Reiki. And let's just intend to send each other Reiki for the, just the last few minutes. So if you have, the Reiki symbols, go ahead and power your hands up with them. If you don't have symbols, just intend to connect with love energy. And then we'll send Reiki for about 5 minutes in silence and intend to send it to everyone on this call and to everyone that watches the call afterwards. And so now let's bring that to a close and disconnect our with Kinyoku. So brush, 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 and then brush, brush, brush. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for your questions and discussion. I love connecting with you all. And we either have question and answer or different topics. So if there's a topic that you would like to see in the future, let me know. You can send me an email at karen@karenharrison.net. And I will do my best to arrange a Reiki call around that. And the recording will be on my website and then also on my YouTube channel at Karen Harrison Reiki, and on other places where you listen to podcasts. So Reiki hugs to all of you, and hope to see you at a Reiki circle or at a Reiki call again next month. Okay, bye.
Hi, thank
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
You.